And finally, before we jump into our lightning round, we are going to do a lightning round light. I want to hear your opinions on Smash Palace because this is arriving quite soon. In fact, Smash Palace is going to be available everywhere near you. And I want to know what you think about this Smash Palace product. I just want your general impressions first, and then a follow-up question after. Zach, kick us off.
I think we're talking about Smash Palace because you didn't have enough ideas for a fourth slot, so we had to throw it on the episode.
Wow. That
I just
better than my comment earlier.
Wow.
On a serious note, Smash Palace, I think, is a good product to try and help get people into the game. It like kind of establishes that like more like love for the game as you're getting into it, because it comes with like tokens and like all the different like, you know, like counters and like plus power and things like that. And it allows you to like play a few different heroes, and it comes with some packs. So it introduces people to the game. But for like seasoned players who have been around for a while, I mean, I think it's a waste of shelf space on an LGS store.
I'm taking a point away for that last comment. Okay. Continuing. Let's hear what you have to say, Mr. Talk.
Like I said before we started this podcast, I had to look up what the cards did in Smash Palace again because I care so little about this product.
Oh my goodness.
This product is so... I could go for way deeper, and I'm going to, on like how LSS has marketed this game for the hyper competitive player or even the reasonably competitive player. This product has nothing to do with any of their market share of like what makes their game grow right now. And the problem with it is, to kind of not go against Zach's point, but like play off a little bit, is I wouldn't want to play this product and then go into CC or Blitz because it's so wildly different, because it's like the Clarion Community College kit. This is how I'll put this. The TCC kit, you play like, oh, that's cool. That was fun one time. And then you see another kit come out and you're like, because they started doing the boxes, and you're like, I don't want to buy that again. Like, that's how
exactly.
Like,
yes.
You might play it one time and then you're like, okay. And then you're like, I'm going to go back to sweating my tail off in any other format because that's what this game attracts. LSS would have to massively change their marketing strategy on what type of players they are trying to attract, because there's other games, both TCG and Hobby Relay, that just do this better.
See, I understand where you're coming from, but I don't think that it's a good long-term strategy to say, let's just push that entire subcategory of like player to the side and only focus on the thing that we do really, really well. I think that they do that already to some degree. This is an opportunity for a product that can bridge the gap between those players, because you can fall in love with a game from a casual sense and say, you know what, I'd like to play more of that. And then you go to your local armory and play like, I don't know, Project Blue when that shows up. And then you go, you know what, I've played enough of this. I want to try one of these. Like, what would happen if I upgraded my deck? This could be a gateway product. Now, I'm not saying that it is by any stretch of the imagination, because I haven't gotten my hands on it, obviously. I haven't dove deep into it to really try it. But even if it's not the perfect onboarding strategy for a more casual player, it does service those in the community themselves that already play the game on a more casual stage. Look, not everyone can stream whenever they want and get 100 viewers like right away and then stream for 3.5 hours because they're crushing people on Talishar. Not everyone is that good. Period. It's true. I mean,
all they gotta do is find Gone in a Flash just one time.
I was like, if you watch me go 2-5 on a Cilio, bro, get out of here.
They just gotta find Gone in a Flash. Look, but here's the thing. Not everyone is as good, as seasoned, or just as grindery as us. And I put myself in that category and probably shouldn't. Not everyone is to that level. And that's okay. They don't have to be. They should. Not every person should be like that, because there's lots of things to love in Flesh and Blood. And I think this product is not a, whip turn 180 degrees. Let's target a new market and forget the other stuff. No, I don't think that's what LSS is doing. I think they're just making something that's cool. And I think this product fundamentally is just kind of cool. And you can get it, and if you want to engage with it more, you can go buy more packs to do the whole thing again, or you just put everything that came in the box in a stupid, like, one of those little, like, draft pocket things. I don't know what they call them anymore. But you throw that back in the box, and you play it with your friends whenever, or you play it with your kids. This is a product that I would play with my kids. It's something that I can do with another game like Lorcana, and my kids are fine to do that. I can do that with Flesh and Blood now in a much easier box set. They grab the box off the shelf and we just play. So I do think that there is a place for this, and it may not be for every player, and it shouldn't be for every player, but I don't think it's a detriment for LSS to actually print this, because I do think that there's benefit to be provided by something like this. And my question, the follow-up question, is this. Should they do another one of these? Should they add to this one? Should they nix the whole thing entirely? Based on your first kind of responses, it sounds like they should maybe not do this for you, but what do you think after I talked about it, Zach?
I mean, for me personally, like this doesn't affect me or my life in any capacity. Like I'm not gonna buy it. I have no interest in it. Like, I don't have kids like you were talking about, so this is not something for me. But do I think that LSS should continue to explore avenues to make the casual player base and like more like kid friendly, like, like board game style like decisions? Yeah, absolutely. Like Flesh and Blood and any card game is a game for everyone. It should be inviting at all times to every player of every skill level, no matter how long or how new you are to the game. So if this is the product that bridges the gap between kids and parents, or like even like just like couples that want to get into a hobby together, then yeah, absolutely, I say you continue to make it every year.
What do you think, Dylan?
I think my initial answer is no. I think, and this is just my one opinion, I think that you need to separate this style of product from the TCG. Normally, I'd be all about like making all these subsidiary products that go to the pinnacle that is Flesh and Blood TCG, right? But like with this, the game mechanics, the design of this game is very difficult to understand. It's very much not kid friendly in its natural game mechanics, in my opinion. You have the art style, most sets is not kid friendly. So you have to do so much to bridge that gap right now for I don't know their sales numbers, and maybe they'll reveal they normally don't, but like how much they're actually selling to this product. I think I'd rather just put my efforts to like making a subsidiary level board game product, like actually expand your company. If you're really wanting to go down this route and make your game more mass marketable, make it more mass marketable in different pillars instead of trying to fit a freaking square piece through a circular hole. Like it's just the game mechanic system, the art style, the thematics, the type of players it attracts it's not a mass marketable style, in my opinion. It just isn't. Like, so if you're going to do this again, I think it's got to be separate from the regular game. Now, how you go about doing that, that's a whole different can of worms, but that's just my take. Because like entrenched players aren't going to buy this unless you have kids, in my opinion.
Sure.
Very few are going to buy this. So like, and then when you do buy it, like this really doesn't bridge the gap into a game where it's $500 to $1,000 a deck, like realistically. Yeah. So
well, I will cut in and say that I do think that there is the capacity for this and things like Project Blue to start chipping away at the entrenched only tournament grinder player base and make it more of a mixed bag. I think those two things in concert, along with good intro products, those have the capacity to, really expand the player base to a more casual scene and audience. I would love for them to do products like this going forward. I think that there are some really, and honestly, there are very easy ways to make a product like this more kid friendly and use art that's already in the game. Pirates. Just make a pirate one. Literally, look at High Seas. Like, point to a card that wasn't a reprint named Headshot that is like really, really graphic. It's pretty tame overall. Pirates are cool, and that would be a good way to do a product like this if you wanted to go a little bit more kid-friendly or casual and still kind of maintain that aesthetic and that play. Am I right?
So
yeah, you heard that. Good.
Oh no, I was like going to have like a little bit of a counterpoint to what you said, Dylan, a minute ago, because you made the comment that this is like not designed for children, and the art, I think we all have to concede that point, that it's just not made for kids. Some of it is very promiscuous, to say the least. But I actually think that the complexity of this is what makes this game better at teaching kids structure, like mental math, social skills on how to communicate with somebody very clearly as you're working through turn cycles, and not every kid gets that. Not every kid has siblings or like, social groups to be in. And I think that for like, what a lot of people would consider like like the awkward kids, like this gives you an opportunity to fit in or maybe find like a home and grow upon yourself as a person and as like, a student and someone who's trying to like learn and become more knowledgeable. So I actually think this is the perfect game, like card games in general,
Hmm.
to get kids into.
I will
I can
push
see.
back on that. I actually don't think it's the perfect game. I do think that there is a complexity level that does push some kids away, and I don't think that
Okay.
means it's the perfect game. But I do think it is a good one. I think that you are right that there are benefits to playing this game over others, and just like learning this game alongside of others. Maybe not even over, but just alongside of others, because it is a step up in complexity level. So I would not give this game, even in like if you were to like grab a couple of the blitz decks, which is how I taught my kids how to play. I got the Bolton the blitz deck, and then I got the prism blitz deck because the art in them is clean, and the gameplay is simple to most of the degree. I would play the Bolton and they would play prism. They just threw big angels, and it was super easy for them to learn. But I wouldn't start them with this game. I would teach them something a little bit more simple that they would understand how cards work and how reading work, that sort of thing. And then I'd build from there. But I do agree that there is benefit to a kid learning how to play this game.
I will say I am excited about the Ice Age thing that's coming next year, whatever that ends up being for Project Blue. Like I
Hmm.
do agree with you. I think Project Blue is going to be the best entry level, actual, true. Like you will get the same competitive feel that Flesh and Blood gives that actually attracts players, while also having lower budget, easier to understand because it's going to be simpler cards. Like I think I'm excited to see that, and it is also for one last thing for Smash Palace. This goes back to like what's the intended purpose of this product, it being crack shuffle play for Mastery Pack Guardian. Without saying it, I think this is also like a standalone product that also helps them sell Mastery Pack Guardian packs over time. Like
It
you
certainly
could look
could.
at it as that, and that's not
Yeah.
a negative or a positive. I think that's just also we might be looking at it as an entry level product where they're looking at it as a standalone product to help sell packs, which is also not a bad thing. That's just how it is.
Yeah, I mean, if that's how the product
So,
is designed to function, or if that's an ancillary benefit of the
mhm.
function of the product, so be it.